It's Halloween on Disney+. Watch frightful family favorites like Hocus Pocus and Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas on Disney+.
I am the Pumpkin King!
Then take the terror to 10 with a thrilling new remake of The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, Scream, and more with Halloween on Disney+. All these and more screaming this Halloween season with Hulu on Disney+. Bundle subscription required. 18+. Select Hulu content via Disney+. Additional content on Hulu app. Terms apply. Visit disneyplus.com/Hulu for details.
Icy Hot Pro with 2 max strength pain relievers. Targets multiple pain receptors. Ice works fast. Heat makes it last.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Big Mad True Crime, where we get big mad over true crime. I'm your host, Heather Ashley, and today you'll be hearing part 2 of the Ryan Sullivan case. Small talk sucks, so let's dive in. In part 1, we talked all about Ryan, a decorated Army staff sergeant, respected leader, and the kind of guy you'd want next to you when things go bad. After 2 tours in Iraq, he was back at Fort Hood, Texas, prepping for a 3rd deployment. But just weeks later, Ryan was found brutally murdered in his off-base apartment, stabbed 34 times with no sign of forced entry and a deadbolt locked from the outside. Detectives dug into Ryan's personal life and found it was extremely complicated, and none of that was his fault. There was Katie Briggs, an ex-girlfriend with a bizarre backstory that started with catfishing him as a supermodel, and her suspiciously close relationship with one of Ryan's supposed friends, John Valdez. Then there was Kyle Mosch, who admitted to being with Ryan the night he was killed. By the end of part 1, Katie's behavior was raising every red flag ever launched. From filing for Ryan's life insurance benefits within 1 day of his body being found, to showing up at his funeral giggling and calling herself his fiancé, to draining his bank account to cover her trip to that funeral. Detectives believed she had motive, but they also knew she couldn't have acted alone. And as they kept looking into other suspects, a call came from a soldier named Jeremy Jacobs. What he told detectives blew this entire case wide open. Jeremy said that 2 other soldiers, John Valdez and Kyle Mosch, had made incriminating statements to him about Ryan's murder. He explained that he, John, Kyle, and Ryan had all served together in the same unit and were close at one point. In fact, John had been living with Jeremy and his wife. But according to Jeremy, the friendship between John and Ryan had started to fall apart months before the murder, possibly because of none other than fucking Katie. When detectives heard this, all the pieces finally started coming together. Jeremy told detectives that in late August of 2008, he, John, Kyle, and Ryan all met up at a bar in Austin. While they were there, John and Ryan got into a disagreement over something Jeremy didn't know about. Ryan left the bar really upset, while John was so drunk that he had to be pretty much carried out by Jeremy and Kyle. They walked John down the street to another bar where Katie was waiting for him. John then left the area with Katie. Sometime later, either in September or October, John told Jeremy and Kyle that there was a hit on Ryan and that John was going to carry it out. Jeremy said John claimed lawyers and government officials and something like that were the ones who had ordered the hit. He said Ryan was pissing the wrong people off and stepping on toes. The claims all sound fucking loony, but they didn't stop there. Jeremy told detectives that John said he was going to kill Ryan at night and that he'd already been paid $100,000 to do it. He offered Jeremy and Kyle $2,000 each to help get rid of the body afterward. Jeremy said both he and Kyle responded, "I don't know." And Jeremy told detectives that he didn't take John seriously. But let's take a moment for 1 second here and start taking shit like this seriously. For the love of everything, I have covered so many cases that have included moments like this. And even if you think you're wrong and people are just talking out of their ass, let them talk out of their ass to a detective. For the love of everything, it is better for you to report some loony-goony shit than to risk someone losing their life. But let's get back to this case. Hey guys, fall is creeping in and it feels like it's the world giving me permission to finally slow down a little. I can swap the busyness of summer for the smell of fall, crisp evenings around the fire, and cozy nights inside. I mean, it already sounds amazing, but it gets more amazing when you create a sanctuary of comfort with Boll & Branch's bed bundles, layering the softest, comfiest fabrics until it is just right. Boll & Branch's bed bundles are an effortless upgrade, getting you everything you need with just one click. No matter what kind of refresh you need, whether it's sheets and blankets or a whole transformation, they have got you covered. And they have something for everyone. Want a cooler night's sleep? Done. Want a cozier night's sleep? They've got it. Need a softer night's sleep? Easy. Boll & Branch has it all, and they're made with the highest quality 100% organic cotton, so you know it's going to be good. And fear not, my friends, because they have something for every personality and vibe. From durable patterns to customizable colors, they'll fit every corner of your cozy life and lifestyle. Plus, they have a 30-night worry-free guarantee. As a woman in my mid-30s, I sleep either too hot or too cold, but my Boll & Branch sheets feel like magic. Somehow they help regulate my temperature throughout the night, so now my nights are just this unmatched softness and sheer comfort. Me and my bed are best friends, and I have Boll & Branch to thank for that. It is a cozy, comfy sanctuary that I never want to get out of. Boll & Branch makes upgrading your bed easier with curated bundles for a sanctuary of comfort. For a limited time, get 20% off bed bundles plus free shipping and returns at bollandbranch.com/bigmad. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND branch.com/bigmad to save up to 20% and unlock free shipping. Limited time only, exclusions apply. Not long after that conversation, either later that same day or the next, Jeremy said that he, John, and Kyle went to Quantico Tactical, which was a supply store on Fort Hood. According to Jeremy, John said he was looking for a stun gun to incapacitate Ryan. They didn't find one, and the three left the store, and Jeremy still did not think John was going to hurt Ryan. Jeremy further told detectives that while he and John were training in Louisiana in September, they had been going through some medical chests and supplies when John asked him a strange question. Somehow stranger than any other fucking thing he said, I guess. I don't fucking know. This pisses me off. Apparently, he wanted to know if any of the supplies contained paralytic agents. Jeremy asked him why, and John said that he was going to draw it up in a syringe and use that to incapacitate Ryan. Jeremy, I guess, did not respond at all to that. Later, John brought it up again, though, telling Jeremy that he'd gone through a drug reference book and found some of the chemical used in lethal injections. He said he had found 2 of the 3 chemicals and that he had taken them. John didn't say what he planned to do with the drugs, but Jeremy assumed that it was for the same reason he'd asked about paralytics before. Despite the drug conversation and every other red flag, Jeremy still insisted that he did not take John seriously. After their training exercises wrapped up, the unit returned to Fort Hood. According to Jeremy, John got into a fight with their commander on October 8th and didn't return to work for the rest of that week. Then came October 11th. Jeremy said that at around 7:30 in the morning, he woke up and found Kyle inside of his duplex. Kyle looked scared and said he was coming out of the hallway bathroom and looked like he had just washed his hands. Jeremy said Kyle looked at him and said, "It's done. Sully's dead." Jeremy didn't believe him. Even when Kyle pointed to a couple of small drops of blood on his pants leg, Jeremy still didn't think it was real. He drove Kyle to Fort Hood, dropped him off, and then went back home. On October 14th, another soldier told Jeremy that Ryan had been found dead in his apartment, and that night, Jeremy went home and confronted John. He asked if he had killed Ryan, and according to Jeremy, John just looked at him and gave him kind of a smirk. John continued living with Jeremy and his wife even after this, and Jeremy told detectives he was there pretty much every week and gone on the weekends. Jeremy said he didn't call the police right away because he was scared that John might hurt him or his wife. But eventually, he did decide to come forward and tell detectives what he knew. And now detectives knew exactly who they needed to talk to next. Kyle. Kyle was the weak link in all of this, the one who showed some emotion when talking to Jeremy about what they had done. And if you remember, he'd already given a statement to police admitting that he was with Ryan the night he was murdered. He said that on October 10th, they'd gone out drinking with friends, and afterward, they went back to Ryan's apartment, watched a movie, kept on drinking, and eventually passed out in the living room. Kyle claimed he didn't remember anything after that, but the fact that he'd already admitted to being with Ryan right before his murder did give detectives the perfect reason to bring him back in. So, according to court documents, on November 19th, that's exactly what detectives did. Once again, Kyle claimed that after drinking with Ryan and friends on the night of October 10th, he and Ryan went back to Ryan's apartment, watched a movie, kept on drinking, and eventually passed out in the living room. But this time, there was a little bit of a twist. Kyle said that he did remember waking up in the middle of the night and seeing someone in the living room wearing a black ski mask that covered his entire face, something he conveniently left out the last time he was talking about his murdered friend. Okay, let's get back to this. He said that the person was also wearing black gloves with plastic knuckle protectors, just like the ones Kyle had seen sold at a store for soldiers in Iraq. According to Kyle, the man pulled off the ski mask and told him, "We need to leave now." Kyle looked over and saw a body in the corner and asked the man if he had killed Ryan, and Kyle said the man walked over, kicked the body's feet, and said, "Yes." And at that point, Kyle figured it had to be Ryan. What the fuck? Anywho, Kyle claimed he walked out the front door with this man and then asked for a ride to Fort Hood. But apparently that was just a little bit too risky, and the man told him he didn't want to be seen anywhere at that time of morning, not after everything that had just happened. What? No. You're telling me that this man had a ski mask on covering his entire face. That's what you led with. I do recall something. I didn't just pass out in the living room and lose all recollection and he was alive when I left. No. Now he does recall, oh my gosh, remember I woke up in the middle of the night and there was this guy, he had a ski mask covering his entire face. Absolutely fucking wild. But what's wilder is that I noticed these gloves with plastic knuckle covers. I was 100% with it, even though I'd been drinking the entire night before, passed out, and thought I didn't remember everything. But I actually do remember literally everything right now, including like texture and material of what this strange person I totally forgot I had seen was wearing, and that he kicked my friend Ryan's dead body while I was there. And I probably was shit scared, but not just scared enough to actually ask this motherfucker who just killed my friend for a ride. But then he was like, oh my gosh, boundaries, my guy. It's too risky to be seen anywhere at this time of day, even though I don't know what time of day makes risk more apparent. Who knows here, because we're not dealing with the logical world, and none of this happened. Go fuck yourself. Okay, now that we've got that out of our system, let's continue. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hey guys, October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and I think it's time to give therapists the shout out they deserve. I haven't always had the easiest life, but my therapists have helped me become the adult I wish I had when I was younger. I had an incredible therapist in my 20s who listened and asked all the right questions and helped me navigate adulthood and parenthood in ways I didn't really know how to before her. She wound up moving to a new state, and I was so bummed to lose her, but if she hadn't, I then wouldn't have found the therapist that I have now. I've had my current therapist for years now, and once again, I do not know what I would do without her. Sometimes we just talk about life, but other times she's helping me navigate hurdles that oftentimes I don't even realize I'm going through. And she also reminds me to give myself credit for growth, which is something I often overlook. If you've been thinking about trying therapy, give BetterHelp a try. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, and behind everyone is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. Moments in therapy like the right question, a safe place to cry, or recognizing a small win can change lives. I mean, I know that it has changed mine. Now, one thing not a lot of people talk about is that sometimes you do have to give it a couple tries before you find the therapist that's right for you. But with BetterHelp, you're not going in blind. They have you fill out a short questionnaire to help identify your needs and preferences. And then they use their 10 plus years of experience to match you with a licensed therapist that's right for you. But don't worry, because even if it's still not the right fit on the first try, you can switch therapists anytime. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who've helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/bigmad. That's betterhelp.com/bigmad. As you can imagine, police didn't buy any of that for one fucking second. Not only was this story a steaming pile of literal dog shit, they already knew at this point from Jeremy that Kyle and John had been involved in Ryan's murder. But they didn't want Kyle to know that, at least not yet. He was still the weak link here, the only one who had already admitted to being with Ryan the night he was killed, the one who'd showed emotion, and if anyone was going to flip on John, it was going to be Kyle. The next day, detectives made their move. They arrested 24-year-old John Valdez for Ryan's murder. When police searched a hotel room John had rented, they found over $4,000 in cash inside of a Bank of America envelope tucked into the pocket of his jacket. With John behind bars now, detectives brought Kyle back in for yet another round of questioning. This time, he decided to come clean, at least partially. He admitted to taking part in Ryan's murder, but said that John was the actual killer. He was just the helper. Unfortunately, a lot of that statement was redacted when it was entered into evidence at trial, but we do know some of what he said, including, quote unquote, "When initially approached about the hit on Ryan, I offered to help in any way needed for a cut. He also said, after we went to Quantico Tactical to buy a stun gun is when I knew 100% in my mind that John was going to kill Ryan. Kyle further admitted that after the murder, he and John went to Austin and tossed bloody clothes into a trash bin. Even though Kyle had confessed to helping with the murder, he wasn't actually arrested until January of 2009. And even then, it was just for tampering with evidence. It seemed like the police weren't sure if they had enough to hit him with murder charges, so they kept working the case and testing evidence from the scene. DNA results came back on the cigarette butts and an energy drink bottle found in Ryan's apartment. Kyle's DNA was on cigarette butts from an ashtray sitting on a table near Ryan's body. John's DNA was on 3 cigarette butts from the floor and on the mouth of the energy drink bottle, which had been sitting on a plate covered in Ryan's blood. DNA from both men was found on a cigarette butt that had been stuffed inside that same bottle. In February, prosecutors took their case against Kyle and John to a grand jury and laid out everything they had. In the end, both men were indicted on capital murder charges, which only made sense here. Kyle might not have wielded the knife, but he knew about the murder and helped out. He was just as guilty as John. But for Ryan's family, this investigation wasn't over, not by a long shot. They were convinced that Katie had also been involved, and police were on the same page. Unfortunately, they just didn't have the evidence to put her at the scene, at least not yet. So they kept on digging. They wanted to know more about her connection to John. They learned that while Ryan and Katie were dating, she formed a close relationship with him. And as things between Ryan and Katie started to fall apart, so did Ryan's friendship with John. There's absolutely no way that that was a coincidence. After Ryan and Katie broke up and she moved to Austin, John was often seen at her apartment and with her around town. They didn't tell people they were dating, but the flirting was obvious. John told people he was actually with a woman named Ariana Benitez and that they planned to get married. She was even on his jail visitors list. Detectives wanted to talk to this mysterious Ariana, but first they had to find her, and that seemed to be a bit of a problem. They ran her name through multiple state and federal databases, but there was no record of her anywhere. Calls to her phone went straight to voicemail, and no one ever called back. Court records show that when detectives asked around for other ways to reach her, no one could provide anything besides that one phone number. No email, no social media, nothing. Eventually, detectives found a second number linked to Ariana, and when they ran it, they learned that it belonged to someone named Katnick. It was registered to an address in Iowa, but the phone wasn't used in Iowa. It was almost exclusively used in the same area of Texas where Katie lived. It had also pinged in Austin, Cincinnati, and Atlanta during a time that lined up with a flight Katie had taken. It was obvious here that Katnick was Katie, which meant that Ariana was also Katie. And this time, detectives didn't think Katie was catfishing John. They believed the two had invented the Ariana girlfriend story to actually hide their relationship and keep anyone from connecting Katie to him romantically. It was a bizarre, convoluted, and dumb as fuck plan. This episode is brought to you by IQBAR, our exclusive snack and hydration sponsor. IQBAR is the better-for-you plant protein-based snack made with brain-boosting nutrients to refuel, nourish, and satisfy hunger without the sugar crash. IQ bars are my go-to anytime snack because they manage to be both crave-worthy and packed with clean ingredients like magnesium, lion's mane, and more, but also free from gluten, soy, artificial sweeteners, and GMOs. Basically, I can enjoy some chocolate, a nice little treat without any guilt or any nasty sugar crash. And their flavor game is on point, you guys. I've been on a lemon blueberry kick for a little while now, but their mint chocolate chip and seasonal flavors are so good. I'm also obsessed with their IQ mix sticks. There's zero sugar and it hydrates with electrolytes, improves mood, and boosts clarity, but it just tastes like you're drinking really nicely flavored water. I mean, I 10 out of 10 recommend the blueberry pomegranate. I drink at least one a day, so I do not feel like a little raisin. IQBAR actually offers an ultimate sampler pack where you can get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. IQ Joe is an instant coffee, and I was a little bit nervous about that. But yet again, IQ Bar does not disappoint. The flavors are incredible, and the convenience is unmatched. IQ Bar has become a staple in my daily routine, and I have no doubt you guys are going to love them just as much as I do. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are refueling their busy lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Their ultimate sampler pack includes all 3. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the sampler pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text BIG to 64,000. Text BIG to 64,000. That's BIG to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. The Killeen Daily Herald reported that as detectives kept digging, they discovered that Katie had a long history of conning men. The most disturbing case before Ryan's death involved a California lawyer she managed to scam out of $25,000. In that scheme, Katie didn't just create one fake persona, she actually created 2. She posed as a single mother with an 8-year-old son battling cancer, and in phone conversations, she played the roles of both the mother and the child. She even made childlike drawings, mailing them to the man and claiming that her son had made them especially for him. That is some deep level fucked up shit. This was a woman who would play anyone in any way to get anything she wanted. And if she was willing to pretend to be an 8-year-old boy with cancer for $25,000, how far would she be willing to go for $100,000? The amount she would get if Ryan died before changing his life insurance beneficiaries. Court documents show that at the time of Ryan's death, Katie had only $5 whole in her shitty little bank account. She desperately needed money, and $100,000 would have been life-changing. Detectives believed it was entirely possible that she had come up with a plan to kill Ryan, but she didn't want to be tied to the actual murder, so she offered to pay John to do it, promising the money once she collected the insurance payout. John said yes, then hired Kyle to help. When detectives reviewed the bank records for Katie, John, and Kyle, they found significant amounts of money being exchanged between Katie and John after Ryan's murder, but there was no sign she ever gave anything to Kyle, which would make sense if John had hired him on his own. One transaction stood out, though, which was a $4,000 cash withdrawal from Katie's account on November 17th. More than $4,000 in cash was later found in John's hotel room after his arrest. Detectives believed that was the same money, possibly payment for Ryan's murder, but it still wasn't the smoking gun they needed. Then they learned that just a week after John was arrested, Katie started putting money into his jail account. The Killeen Daily Herald reported that she also spoke to him on the phone. They talked about raising money for his bail, the need to get him out fast, and how police didn't have any hard evidence in the case. All of that was suspicious as shit and just added to the ever-piling amount of red flags. John wasn't just some random inmate. He'd been arrested for the murder of Katie's ex-boyfriend. So why would she be visiting him, paying him, and trying to get him out? The only thing that could explain any of this was if Katie was indeed involved in Ryan's murder. Detectives kept building their case against Katie, looking for anything that could directly tie her to Ryan's murder. When they went through her movements in the days leading up to the murder, something stood out. On October 9th, Katie went to lunch with her co-workers, Gilbert, Margaret, and Joy, at a cupcake shop. According to them, it was Katie's idea to go there. She told them she was meeting her brother so she could return the key to her brother's apartment in Killeen. While they were there, a man pulled up on a motorcycle, talked with Katie, and handed her a key. Gilbert and Joy both identified the man on the motorcycle as being John, and they remembered him for one specific reason. Katie was white, John was Hispanic, and they thought it was odd she'd call him her brother. Court records also show that on the evening of October 10th, just hours before Ryan was killed, Katie and John were seen together at her apartment complex in Austin. A man named Sammy, who lived there and knew Katie, John, and Kyle, told detectives he saw John at around 6 p.m. and asked if he wanted to go out that night. John just shrugged and didn't really give an answer. Sammy thought it was strange. They usually went out almost every Friday night, often with Katie and sometimes even with Kyle. Later that evening, Sammy saw them again, but this time, Katie was with John. When Sammy asked if John wanted to go out, John didn't answer, but Katie told him that John had something to do. Hey guys, you know when it's 6 p.m. and you're standing in front of the abyss of your fridge holding leftover macaroni, a half-drank juice box, and 4 grapes with 0 plans for dinner? Because same. Apparently, parenthood does not come with a meal plan, but that's okay because Little Spoon has entered the chat. They deliver real food for babies, toddlers, and big kids straight to your door, so mealtime finally feels easy. A recent favorite in our house lately has been their Easy Cheesy Pizza. My kids just think they're eating some awesome cheese pizza with a little side of dessert, but it is loaded with hidden veggies, and I don't have to peel, chop, or beg anybody to take a bite. And I'm not gonna lie, I've stolen a few because they are indeed delicious. Little Spoon is here for breakfast on the floor, lunch in the back seat, or just a quick dinner on a busy night, and they actually prioritize health and convenience at the same time. Us parents no longer have to stress about what we're going to eat when we lose track of time. It just shows up at our doorstep every 2 weeks. That's a mom win if I've ever seen one. Oh, and here's the exciting part. Little Spoon is now in Target, so on your next diaper run and obligatory candle sniff, you can also grab baby and kids snacks, pouches, yogurt smoothies, and bars. Plus, Target has an exclusive frozen line. Think their cult favorite chicken nuggets, meatballs, and sliders. Find them in the freezer aisles. We are obsessed. Little Spoon is the mealtime hack parents can't stop talking about. Try their no-prep, nutrient-packed meals and snacks for babies, toddlers, and big kids. Get 50% off your first online order at littlespoon.com/BigMad with code BigMad at checkout. That's LITTLESPOON.com/BigMad, and don't forget to use our show's code for 50% off your first order. On October 11th, after Ryan had already been killed, Sammy went with Katie and John to a bar in Austin to watch the annual University of Texas versus University of Oklahoma football game. Kyle showed up later. According to Sammy, John and Kyle barely paid attention to the game and instead spent most of their time outside talking and smoking. A couple days after that, Sammy got a text from John saying that the police were looking for him and asking Sammy to tell them that he'd been with him that weekend. Sammy this time was the one who didn't respond, and by then, he already knew Ryan had been murdered. He did not want to get involved in whatever the fuck John had gotten himself wrapped up in. According to court documents, detectives pulled the phone records for Katie, John, and Kyle and found that at around the time of the murder, there was a suspicious amount of contact, especially at key moments. For example, on the evening of October 10th, hours before Ryan was killed, Katie called Kyle. They talked for about 13 minutes. Roughly 30 minutes later, Kyle got a 2-minute call from John. Then Kyle called Ryan. Within seconds of hanging up, Kyle called John again, and less than 1 minute later, he texted Katie. To detectives, it looked like Katie, John, and Kyle were finalizing their plan and that Kyle was luring Ryan out for drinks. Court documents add that there was a tremendous increase in calls and texts on October 11th, some coming from the area of Ryan's apartment. Over the next few days, the three of them just kept communicating. Investigators further noted that multiple text messages were sent or received from Katie's phone on October 14th after she first met with Killeen police. Most of those messages were with John, but some of them were with Kyle. It seemed like they were trying to get their story straight. With all of that, detectives now felt like they finally had enough evidence to prove Katie's role in Ryan's murder. It was clear to them that she had orchestrated all of this to cash in on Ryan's life insurance. She didn't want to kill him herself, so she had John do it in exchange for a cut of the payout. He then hired Kyle. On May 19th, about 3 months after the grand jury indicted Kyle and John, Katie was finally arrested. She had just gotten home from work and stepped out of her car when she was swarmed. As soon as Katie was in cuffs, a detective placed a call to the Katnick phone, the one registered to an Iowa address and used by Ariana. Standing right next to her car, he watched as one of the 2 cell phones inside lit up with an incoming call from his number. That confirmed something they already knew at this point. Katie was absolutely, indeed, Ariana, which was John's secret made-up girlfriend. Katie was ultimately indicted on capital murder charges. The state didn't seek the death penalty against her or any of her co-defendants, which meant that they faced a maximum sentence of life without parole. All 3 of them tried to have their trials separated, but the court was not having any of that. Opening statements began on March 29th of 2011, and with 3 defendants on trial, things had to be handled a little bit differently here. Each had their own attorney, and the jury was reminded over and over again that an individual verdict was required for each one of them. Just because they were all sitting at the same defense table did not mean that they all had to be found guilty or innocent. The prosecution told the jury that Katie had orchestrated the killing to cash in on Ryan's life insurance. John had carried out the murder, and Kyle had helped him. They called Jeremy Jacobs as a key witness, and they also used Kyle's own statements to police, though his final statement, where he admitted to taking part in the murder, was heavily redacted. Because there were 3 defendants, there were 3 different defenses, and all of them claimed innocence. According to the Killeen Daily Herald, Katie's attorney admitted her behavior was suspicious, but said it was all circumstantial. They argued there was no direct evidence tying her to the murder, no proof that she had agreed to pay someone, no proof that she had participated, nothing. There's little on record about John's defense other than his attorney claimed he wasn't involved at all. Kyle's attorney, however, had the toughest job. His client had already admitted to being involved in this. He tried his best to frame Kyle's role, if any, as accidental rather than intentional, but the jury wasn't buying any of it. I mean, after less than 3 hours of deliberation, the jury found all 3 of them guilty of capital murder. They were immediately sentenced to life without parole. They all appealed, and they all lost because the evidence of each of their guilt was overwhelming. Today, they are still in prison, which is exactly where they belong, and history will only remember them as greedy pieces of shit who stole a hero from this world. Ryan, however, will be remembered as the incredible leader, the incredible friend, the incredible son, and the incredible brother he was. Check out my Instagram profile at the Heather Ashley and join me there periodically when we go live and talk about any true crime case on your mind, or frankly, anything you want to talk about, because we're all besties here. If you want to listen to podcasts without any ads, we have a solution for you. I hear people don't like those. We have Patreon for $2 whole a month. Your episodes are totally ad-free. You can also subscribe on Apple Premium. Also, there are different tiers on Patreon. You can also get some bonus episodes, a little extra here and there. It's actually once a month on the first Monday of every month. Anywho, yeah, patreon.com/BigMadTrueCrime, or click subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I'll be bringing you a brand new case next week, and I cannot wait. But until then, we out. Oh my fuck. Okay. The hot take is a little bit easier now. I say easier because I don't have to worry about telling you what's about to happen in another episode, but it's the fucking worst. You're shitting me. Okay, if anybody tells you that, oh, the government, the CIA is pissing off the wrong people or trying to kill this person and da-da-da-da-da, it's bullshit. We hear this crazy fucking shit from crazy fucking people all the time in cases. I wish I could not think of a handful of other cases where this exact fucking shitty ass storyline is a part of an investigation. No. Ryan was a leader and a good one. He was a good human. He was not pissing off the wrong people. This dumb bitch lied to everybody she ever fucking met. Imagine the diabolical bullshit that has to run through your brain, your fucking body, to be like, oh my gosh, I picked this super rich lawyer and I'm gonna make him think that I love him and I'm awesome and beautiful and I have this 8-year-old son and oh my gosh, he is going through cancer. There are actual 8-year-olds on this fucking planet experiencing cancer, and it's not something you fucking lie about, you piece of shit. But she did. And then she was like, let me draw shitty fucking pictures and send it to this attorney who feels fucking bad for me because, like everyone else, believe my lies. Because if she had put the effort she put into lying into, I don't know, fucking anything else, maybe she wouldn't be broke all the motherfucking time, but maybe, just maybe, it wasn't just the love, it wasn't just the money she was after. Maybe she was addicted to the fucking chaos. Maybe she was addicted to the manipulation, and it made her feel important and it made her feel special because she was a small little bitch who was never going to amount to anything because her brain is a fucking potato. Oh man, that was very mean. Also, don't fucking care because fuck this bitch. And the fucking broom she rode in on. And I apologize to witches everywhere because no, she doesn't get a broom. Fuck you. You get like a dumb, stupid, fucking whatever. I don't know. We fucking hate her. Ugh. This man, Ryan, I mean, He was willing to sacrifice his life for people he didn't know. And the only thing Katie was willing to sacrifice was the life, money, and time and attention of others. I mean, she sucked the life out of every fucking room she was in. Fuck, and damn it, I hate people. Not all of them. No, I don't hate all people, but a lot of them. We're on case like 300 and bajillion, and fucking irredeemable piece of shit. You know, it's not my call to say irredeemable, but fuck this bitch. Oh my gosh, how many fucking times do we have to say if somebody says they're gonna kill people, somebody goes to a store and it's like, oh, I'm here to buy things for the murder I'm gonna commit. The fuck? Tell somebody, for the love of everything, tell somebody. If you have 2 brain cells to rub together, for the love of God, tell somebody, hey, I feel like I might be being dramatic. I feel like I might be tattling, and I'm not trying to be a tattletale rat that makes you waste your time. But just in case this crazy motherfucker who just went to a store to get like a murder weapon and some shit, in case he's gonna like do the thing that he said he was going to do with the stuff that he said he was going to do it with when he was at the store and I was with him and I saw him trying to get it, but he didn't find it, but I'm worried he's gonna find it in another store. I just wanna let you know, Mr. Police Officer, so that you can maybe intervene and stop a murder. Believe people. Believe people when they tell you they're fucking homicidal. Believe people when they tell you they're a piece of shit. Believe people when they say crazy shit. You know, say, oh my gosh, this crazy motherfucker believes that the CIA would like to, you know, fucking euthanize groundworms and so that they can eat radioactive shrimp and rid the world of demons. I don't fucking know. Just believe like, oh, I believe that he believes that. And maybe I'm going to call a mental health professional because this feels concerning and I'm not equipped to help you, but I believe that you believe it. So we're going to get you some attention because they care about literally anyone outside of myself. It's the least you could do. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Fuck. Ugh. Okay, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Kill you.